Hi guys, follow me on Instagram to never ever miss any of my crazy updates. Hi guys and welcome to another vlog. I'm driving this. This is the Toyota Fortuner Legender, which is priced at rupees 45.34 lakhs on road Mumbai. If you're looking to fulfill your dream of buying this car, Bank of Baroda can help with their best in class offers. Bank of Baroda offers 90% loan of the on-road price of the car with zero prepayment fee, as one isn't required to pay foreclosure charges or a prepayment penalty. Nor do they need to pay advance EMIs. Bank of Baroda offers online approval in principle and quick disbursal with minimal documentation. So what are you waiting for? Click on the link given below and get your car loan approved in the shortest possible time. It is after all ek forever rishta that Bank of Baroda promises. And back to the vlog. Straight away we are going to be opening the engine bay of this vehicle, which means pushing a knob here. Yeah, it's kind of a little confusing, but got the hold of it. Now the thing is that it doesn't get hydraulic struts, and this is super duper heavy as well. Can actually work out here, making my muscles right away. There's the engine, super clean engine bay. The engine bay is actually quite big as well, but yeah, they should have given it hydraulic struts. Obviously you've got insulation right there. Now this happens to be the Legender, which means up front it is very different from the regular Fortuner because it gets a slimmer grille, and it's not a one-piece grille. That one has a massive one-piece grille. Another big change is that you don't get chrome treatment up front. You get gloss black finishing, which is also nice. In fact, the DRLs are also very different on this car. The lights look very beautiful. The bumper is also different. I mean, almost everything at the front is very different, making the Legender a very sporty looking car. This is of course the fog lamp. This happens to be the front parking sensor. Actually, front parking sensors are there in the front. Of course, this is the indicator, which also doubles up as a light. Yeah, the indicator gets a dynamic function, which you can see here. It swipes from the inside to the outside, which looks very nice. Trust me, in terms of appearance, the Legender looks absolutely gorgeous. You get the big Toyota logo as well. Lovely. I love the design. The regular Fortuner actually looks very plain and basic in front of the Legender, to be very honest with you guys. However, here is supposed to be a camera, which is not there on this car. So in India, obviously, they have done cost cutting, unfortunately, in spite of the fact that this is a very expensive car, the most expensive in the segment. Coming to the side, you realize that now it gets 18-inch wheels, and of course, this being the Legender, comes only in one color because you have to get only one color, which is white, sort of a pearl whitish thing, which looks nice. Gets a contrast roof treatment, which gives it a floating roof appearance as well. Let's look at the wheels. The wheels on the Legender are also different. Now the tire is 18-incher, yeah, one size up in terms of the wheels. 265, 60, 18. Wheels look nice as such. Here you can see the suspension as well. You get the black body cladding, side footstep, chrome door handles of course, and you know what? The mirrors also get a projector light, which ensures that you can see where you're going at night. Obviously indicator on the mirror as well. The roof gets a full black treatment, yeah, sort of matte black treatment. Sporty appeal, that is a gloss black treatment for the antenna. Roof rails don't seem to be functional on this car, but the Fortuner looks more or less the same as before. However, at the rear, again there are changes. You get slimmer LED lights. Again, the lights look really very nice. You get a spoiler, which again has the black finishing. And of course, the bumper is different on the Legender. In fact, you see this L-shaped treatment, again very different on the Legender. Looks quite nice. It says Legender right here. Again, dynamic swipe indicators which swipe from the inside to the outside. Oh my god, Toyota is making this car a Lexus for sure, but looks super duper awesome. Fortuner written here. Again, gloss black treatment. Meanwhile, the spare wheel is actually below. It's a full size spare wheel, and it gets an alloy as well. You can see the body on frame platform of this car. Yeah, appearance is super duper sexy now of the Fortuner. But you know what? Another feature of the Legender is if you come behind and wave your feet, hands free, the tailgate will open. Now right now the car is obviously turned on, so that will not happen. But yeah, power tailgate, that is the reverse parking camera. And right now I've just made some changes on the third row just to show you the space. So I've just put this up. You see the boot isn't really big with the 3 rows up, the last row up. But you know what, there is no electric function or powered third row seats, which is there in the Endeavour. It's kind of unfortunate Toyota still not done it. Now it's actually quite easy. With one hand I will show you how you can move the seat. There you go, there, pull it back into place, and then pull it back up, and there you set it. In order to move it, you can actually press this and there recline. It's actually a one hand job. That's how easy it is, which is really nice and worth to appreciate. However, in the old Fortuner, it used to make a lot of noise. I'm trying to push this behind. There, you can actually recline the seat. Yeah, recline angle seems nice right now. So boot space is nil. Now I was talking about the hands-free tailgate opening. There Toyota actually made a diagram. You have to stand I mean your feet should be 20 to 25 centimeters below the car's boot, rather the bumper, and then you have to be 60 centimeters behind and all these things. So you have to actually carry a scale to enable this. I'm just kidding. Where is the button? Here it is. Yeah, we just close the tailgate. There it closes. I love how Toyota has actually made subtle changes and they've given a separate Legender variant, but I have a lot to crib about the Legender variant. I will tell you in a bit. For starters, obviously it doesn't get 4x4. What the F? Okay, now I have done another thing is I've reclined the seat here. Now the seat is maximum ahead right now here, and the recline angle is 100%, so you can actually sleep right there. You just push it and there it comes back up as well. Now you see that is the minimum legroom. This is the maximum legroom. Well, legroom is actually quite decent. Door pockets are also big enough. Doors don't open as much as the Altros, however they open around 81.73 degrees, which is also decent enough. Now obviously we get inside from the other side into the car. Obviously you get a rear wiper washer as well. I love the lights. They look so freaking aftermarket. You can just say they look so freaking Lexus. And now okay, you have to press a button inside, then it opens. You get a request sensor on the other side as well. This is how the indicator actually functions, and you see this is for aerodynamics. Whoa. Anyways, right inside here the twin glove boxes. It says Fortuner here, just in case you know which car you are in right now, and it gets a cooling function as well. The top one, the below one gets a lockable function, but you know what, it's decent in terms of size. However, plenty of hard plastics inside this car. You would expect them to be on the lower side. Of course, there are a lot of hard plastics lower. The lower you go, the worse the plastics get. But on the top also a lot of hard plastics. So they're very scratchy plastics as such. Cost cutting has been done. Build quality is not the best by Toyota standards. Really disappointed by the fact that Toyota has actually cut corners in terms of the quality of materials. Not really happy with that. Although they've given this cloth so you can clean the car very nicely, because this piano black finishing now is a finger pricking magnet. Alright, there is actually a cubby hole here. It's a cooled one because when you turn on the AC you can obviously cool yourself, and this is the Legender, which means it gets a few certain features like obviously the dual tone treatment on the seats, this maroon and black. Again, what is specific to the Legender? These seats, this color treatment, of course a wireless charging pad which is placed here, again specific to the Legender, an auto dimming inside rear view mirror, again specific to the Legender. Well, Legender is getting features which should be their standard in all the Fortuner variants, and rear USB charging also, which is again specific to the Legender. Well, Toyota, what are you doing? Even that hands-free tailgate opening is specific to the Legender. Okay, it gets a 12-way electric adjust for both the front seats. Yeah, you see the dashboard is so slim now that even the seats are actually slim, so there's good amount of space here. Seats are very comfortable, very nice. I love the seats on offer. They're super duper awesome. Let's do one thing. Let's get into the rear. First and foremost, let me tell you, there's good amount of space on offer here without a doubt, and there is a good amount of width as well, so 3 people can comfortably sit in. Now I want to go to the last row. Very easy to tumble it like that. It happens straight away. I can go in and punish myself because you know what, there is very poor under thigh support. Just look at the under thigh support. They are not much. Well, that was expected, because if I put this seat now, I don't know where my legs will go. Under thigh support really very poor. Legroom is also not that great. Headroom, well, there is none as such here. Okay, there is a handle to hold on to. There is good amount of storage space here, but honestly this is basically for children as such. Again, storage space here, but they've given it proper seat belt. That is very nice. Okay, and proper headrest as well. All the headrests in this car are adjustable. There's a light placement on the top, AC vents on the top. In fact, for the center passenger also there's a proper seat belt, so they have not cut costs in terms of safety. Again, this car gets 7 airbags, but space could have been a lot better. Should I try my luck by pushing this back? Why not? Here we are. Oh my goodness, yeah, not much space on offer. Fine for short drives, but not really for long drives. But you know, so easy to tumble this, which is something I really love, how Toyota has made it so easy to operate everything with one hand inside this car. We are out. Let me put this back into place. Oh, a little bit pushy, and there we are. Recline angle has to be moved because this is, yeah, now it seems fine. Otherwise I was like, oh my god, the recline angle is so upright, not really comfy. Now the floor is not completely flat. There is storage space here. Here are two USB-C, rather regular USB charging sockets. It needs a USB-C actually, and nothing here as such. You know what? It can hold maximum 4 kgs. Yeah, this is there on both the sides, which is again a nice touch to carry your bags. Makes you feel that you are on an Activa scooter or something of that sort. Okay, magazine holder, slightly scooped out seat back. Height adjust for the front seat belts. AC vents on the top. It can't get a sunroof unfortunately, because they put all the AC controls on the top, but if they wanted to they could have given a sunroof. This is the most expensive car on earth which doesn't have a sunroof. Surprising, shocking, yeah, pretty much. Here you can turn on the air conditioning. Let me do one thing, let me turn it off. Makes a lot of noise. Light white here, what the fluff, and behind yellow, so it's got like disco lights, all color lights inside this car. Hook and a handle to hold on to. Window area is also large enough. Seats are really very comfortable, very nice Isofix child seat mounts. Obviously, at this price point, you expect all that and more. That is the dashboard, super duper flat. Yeah, easy to get in and out thanks to the side footstep, the height of the car, and of course the overall comfort levels are really very good. But then I expected more at this price point, especially for the Legender. Obviously it gets request sensors, it obviously also gets push button start and that, and it's easier to get in and out because there's a handle, you just pull it and go. 12-way power adjust for the driver's seat. Okay, nobody removed the tag on this, it says caution something something. Okay, these are Fortuner mats, they are very reliable, you can use it till the end of time. Proper dead pedal. Yeah, this is automatic of course. This is to open the hood of the car, this is to open the fuel lid of the car, this is to open the boot of the car. This is something to do with DPF. That's why there's a warning here. This vehicle has diesel particulate filter system, which actually makes it comply with BS6 norms. It doesn't use AdBlue. Alright, again you have a cup holder which can be cool. Engine start button. This is for the parking sensors, you can turn them off, and this is for, you know, hands-free trunk, basically leg-free trunk or whatever. I mean, hands-free trunk, you have to move your legs. That can also be turned off from there. Now, you actually glide inside the car because, yeah, it is having a nice height, but easy to get in and out. There's a proper, door pocket, which keeps a 1 liter bottle very safely. These are the controls for the power window. These are controls for the outside rear view mirrors. You can close them, press a button, and there you can close them. You can open them, and the best part is that overall quality of the seats and the door pads is really very nice. I wish I could say the same about the dashboard of this car. Now straight away I'm going to get inside, I'm going to use this, and here we are. Now listen to this. Not a proper thud as such. Let me show you this as well. Okay, this steering wheel now, yeah, you can see exactly which angle this wheels are pointing to and which door is exactly open as well. So that's again a nice touch. Now the dashboard remains more or less the same. However, it gets ambient lighting, again something which is specific to the Legender. Yeah, it is a white color ambient lighting which you can see here as well as here at the rear too, and it gets this beautiful red treatment. Okay, this maroon is also very nicely done. It gets this red stitching. Yeah, super duper nice, I love it. Okay, below the front center armrest there is storage space where there's a key of a BMW car, which happens to be the BMW 6 Series GT. Okay, it is the M Sport. Let me just keep that back for a moment. And this is for the stop start system. This is for the traction control. 2 dummy buttons here. These are the driving modes of the car: Eco, Norm, and Sport. Norm obviously means normal, the typical Toyota way of doing a gear lever. Here below you've got twin cup holders, and there's storage space here as well. This is the wireless charging pad which I already showed you. There is a proper 12-volt charging socket. There's a USB charging socket here, and this is actually for the seat ventilation function. So both the front seats get the seat ventilation function. Unfortunately though, yeah, it's not as effective. These are the controls for the air conditioning here. You can turn on and off the rear AC. It doesn't get a dual zone climate control system, which is kind of unfortunate. It gets a bigger 8-inch screen right now, which has got physical controls, which is actually a nice thing. However, it's kind of a boring screen. It's not much there as such. Okay, let me just get into info. There's telling you a lot of information. What's the cruising range, what is the time you've driven, history, blah blah blah. Ironically though, it has now got Apple CarPlay and Android Auto connectivity, and this Fortuner also has got connected car tech. There's a clock here. This is obviously for the hazard light, and these are the AC vents of the car. Now this is obviously for the wipers. Let's use the wipers right away. There's actually no water inside, so I can't really tell you what is the scenario right now. I don't know why there's no water as such. Okay, let me just turn this off. Alright, let me turn off the lights as well. Meanwhile, steering feels really very heavy to hold because hydraulic steering. Cruise control is obviously present. Lot of buttons here. Obviously this is for the audio system, and this is for phone calls, and this is for the multi-information display, which is the center. Now this cluster gets a slight revision as well. It's a nice cluster, easy to read. Obviously everything is analog here, right from the speedometer, the tachometer, the engine temperature meter, as well as the fuel meter. But there's a screen in the center which is easy to browse here. Yeah, I think they could have really worked on the fonts of this because the fonts feel a little bit plain and basic. This was obviously the audio, messages, settings, and whatnot. Yeah, it's actually a loaded cluster. But you know what, I expect more at this price point. Obviously you've got beautiful paddles, and here is obviously the control for the headlights, automatic headlights. And yeah, overall quality of the steering wheel feels nice. You get this sort of wood finish as well. The horn, it's very meek for a car of this price and size. Now ironically though, the Fortuner Legender is the most expensive and top of the line and special variant of the Fortuner, yet it gets a 6-speaker audio system, not 11-speaker system, which happens to be a 10-speaker plus a subwoofer, which is available in normal Fortuners, which is a JBL system. Why have they cut corners here? I have no freaking clue. Alright, we'll get into reverse. You can see the reverse parking camera. This is the reverse parking camera. Let's play an audio right away. Audio quality is actually decent enough, but I expect it to be a lot better in other variants. Yeah, this is the menu. You can get into setup and a lot of other things as well. In fact, there are 3-4 themes as well. You can change the themes. Yeah, that is so 2000s. Yeah, I expect a lot more at this price point from the Toyota Fortuner, but since not much has really changed on the inside, I don't have much to talk about, but what I can tell you is that the engine really packs in a lot of punch. So let's get driving right away. But before we get going, let me show you that there is actually a sunglass holder right there and all the light placements on the top. But ironically, again, light colors keep changing from here to there. Now obviously you get a mirror as well as a light here. Again, light color changes. There's no consistency, which is quite surprising. And there's a toll receipt holder, which is not needed because obviously FASTag. There's actually a handle to hold on to because of body roll kicked in, yo. In fact, everyone has a handle to hold on to, which is actually a very nice thing indeed. You know what? It has got apps as well, which is something like smart device link apps, which honestly I don't understand at all. Toyota needs to really update its infotainment system for sure. Let's get going. All right, we are all set to go, which means turning off the air conditioning, getting it into drive mode, getting into sport mode, getting into sport mode for the gearbox as well, turning off the traction control system, left foot on the brake, right foot on the accelerator, and listen to this. That is a lot of dust being thrown around because this Fortuner has a lot of oomph. Okay, I can see the camera vibrating like crazy, lot of vibrations because this body on frame platform, I'm telling you, it is just uncomfortable at every given moment. It just doesn't feel at home. Even on a good smooth road like this, the car is continuously moving because firstly the body on frame platform has that lumpiness, and I've already been told by Noreen to stop the car because we need to check the camera. That is the effect of the suspension of the Fortuner, always moving. And we are off once again. That's 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in 11 seconds. Red lines at around 4,500 RPM, slightly under 4,500 RPM. We obviously got paddle shifters as well, but the engine gets very boomy, high end of the rev range. In fact, let me tell you something, Toyota has actually refined this engine, thank you BS6, but the motor sounds very refined now. Only thing is that once you get into the top end of the rev range, you can hear a lot more. Now, first and foremost, the good news is that there is more power on offer and there is more torque on offer as well. The funny thing is, the Endeavour used to rule the segment with its 3.2 litre engine, which had a lot of oomph, and the Fortuner used to lag. Now, you know, they have actually swapped roles. The Fortuner is the more powerful car, and you can feel it because every time you get on the gas, there's just so much grunt on offer. It really pulls hard and strong. In fact, it also holds onto a gear and will not upshift unless and until you decide to do so. Here, holding the red line at 4,500 RPM. That's amazing as well. Shifts do take its own sweet time. However, the 6-speed torque converter gearbox is decently quick with shifts. Now, this car is producing 204 horsepower, which is an increase by 27 horsepower increase. Yes, making it very, very powerful and the fastest in its segment as well. Torque output has increased by 15 Newton meters. Earlier, the automatic used to produce 450 Newton meters of torque. Now it produces 500 Newton meters of torque, which comes in at a low 1600 RPM, but peaks at 2800 RPM. So 400 RPM more is the torque band increase. Earlier, it used to peak between 1600 to 2400 RPM. So again, that again is a good thing, but the manual continues with the same old 420 Newton meters of torque. Now, I love the manual. It's a 6-speed manual gearbox, and the Fortuner is actually also available with a petrol engine, a 2.7 litre gas guzzling motor, which will ensure that we need to shift to electric faster because fuel will not be left anymore after you drive the petrol. Although it has decent amount of grunt, but the diesel is the way to go. In fact, I don't think anyone buys a petrol Fortuner, but Toyota still sells it for reasons best known to them. So you see, performance is really very nice. It's absolutely sensational. Low end punch, great. It feels peppy throughout. Drivability is also fantastic. Mid-range grunt is also nice. Top end, it does suffer a bit and it gets very vocal as well. And you know what? I like the brakes on the car. Sure-footed stopping power, obviously a lot of grip on offer from these tires. Revving the motor. It loves to spin its wheels because this is obviously rear wheel drive. It's a 2-wheel drive. Legenda is only available in 2-wheel drive, which brings me to the question of why is Toyota's variant lineup so mixed up and not so properly done? I just don't understand. There's 7 variants on offer. 2 variants obviously for the petrol, which is only available in 4x2. No 4-wheel drive. Either you can get a manual or you can get an automatic. The base petrol Fortuner or the base range of the Fortuner starts at rupees 36 lakhs on road Mumbai. Now, when you proceed to the diesel, there are 5 variants on offer. One, of course, is the Legenda, which doesn't get 4-wheel drive. It only gets a 4x2 variant. Alright, the rest 4 variants are very simple. 4x2 in both manual and auto, 4x4 in both manual and auto. And the price difference, the additional price you pay from the 4x2 or a regular Fortuner 4x2 automatic, and when you compare to the Legenda, which is also a 4x2 automatic, it's 3.62 lakh rupees That's an obnoxious premium just for styling changes, but Toyota firmly believes that people who believe in style do not want to ruin their clothes or their style by going off-road. That's why we don't get a 4x4 variant here. Meanwhile, you pay 2.65 lakhs more for the automatic when compared to the manual, and the diesel range actually starts at rupees 39 lakhs, slightly less than 39 lakhs, actually 38.82 lakhs, something of that sort. All the prices are of course on road Mumbai. Now what else has changed? Actually the ride quality has become slightly better. Toyota has actually worked on the suspension, made it slightly softer, but still it is on the stiffer side, and that stiffness can be felt every time you drive this car, because firstly body on frame platform, and when you're on bad roads it continuously keeps moving around. In fact, at lower speeds it is not very comfortable. This car is not comfortable at all at lower speeds because of the lumpiness and of course the stiffness of the suspension, which means that over bad bumps it completely rattles you. However, once you start going faster and faster now at higher speeds over bad bumps, it absolutely annihilates the worst of roads. It feels indestructible, and that is the real USP of the Fortuner, or this kind of a setup of a body on frame platform. But you know what, it gets a hydraulic steering wheel, which makes it really very heavy to pilot this car at lower speeds. But the good news is it actually weighs up at high speeds, and because of the punchy engine, it's actually a very fun car to drive. Yeah, it does give you good feel and feedback at higher speeds, the steering wheel. I like it. But the problem is that there is a ton of body roll to contend with. This car weighs more than 2 tons, actually a lot more than 2 tons. So yes, it is on the heavier side, but it's still a lot of fun to drive because of the stiff suspension and the steering wheel, which offers you good amount of feel and feedback as well. Now the funny thing is, traction control system shuts off around between 50 to 60 kilometers per hour. It will automatically shut off. Yeah, that's right, traction control will automatically shut off. Why would they do that? But I think it's just for safety's sake. Anyways, that's not the point. The point is that, you know what, why do we even need traction control in this car when it has such grippy tires? Because it has got so much oomph now. It is wanting to continuously spin its wheels and then make itself aware that, you know what, I can do a burnout, and obviously can do a burnout as well, because that is the level of grunt on offer. Very fun car to drive, but that continuous movement now is very disturbing, and then there's so much body roll on offer. You come around a corner, you're like, no, I will take it easy. By the way, fuel efficiency is somewhere between 7 to 10 kilometers per liter depending on your driving style, and it's got a massive 80 liter fuel tank as well. That's not all, the ground clearance is also massive at 225 mm, so yeah, you never face any issue in terms of ground clearance. And the 4x4 variant also has got revision in terms of the 4-wheel drive system. So yeah, the 4-wheel drive system on this car now obviously offers a lot better off-road performance, that is because it's got a differential lock as well. So yes, Toyota has made sure that the Fortuner is more appealing, because now it has to justify its price tag for sure, because it's so much more expensive now. This is a very expensive car, but you know, every time you get into the throttle now, it immediately nudges ahead. It is always ready for action and gives you a good view of what's around as well. That again is super duper awesome. Now what we're going to do is we're going to stop, we're going to turn off traction control. You have to keep turning off the traction control because it has to be turned off manually. I mean, it turns on its own. I don't know why it does that. And there, traction control off. Now listen to this, okay? Revving the motor. Yeah, it's always eager to spin the wheels without any doubt. Now there are 3 driving modes on offer. There's an eco mode, and there's a new normal mode. Actually earlier there was no normal mode. If you press eco, you could get into normal. Like there were only 2 modes to press, but there were 3 modes technically speaking. You get the drift, right? However, now there's another normal mode which is written as NORM. They didn't have AL key space, okay? And earlier it was power mode. Now that power mode has become sport mode. Wow, what a revolution. And traction control was somewhere near here in the center console below the AC controls. Now that has gone behind near the center armrest. So they just make changes here and there, push stuff around. Just to tell you what, they have actually worked on the facelift to justify the premium for the new Fortuner. Okay, it's not new facelift. You know what? It was launched in 2016. What are you saying? 2016. Toyota's taken 5 freaking years to give this car a facelift with that ideology. I don't know when the next generation is going to come. Maybe the next century. No, actually it should be coming in the next 2 years. But hey, very long life cycle, which is kind of surprising to me. They should be making changes faster than this for sure. Now, no matter what I say, no matter the fact that this doesn't feel as Toyota-like as it should in terms of the build quality and the quality of materials as well, and the fact that it's not really very comfortable a car, I can't deny the fact that this engine is a real gem. It is so fun to drive in because the Toyota is going to be extremely reliable. It will go on the long haul. Taking a U-turn is a pain in your rear because the turning radius is massively massive. Just look at this turning radius. It is so big, it's so big, you know, that you need a lot of road to do proper U-turn in this car. It gets very boomy. This engine gets very boomy when compared to before. Obviously it's so much more silent now, but yet still quite loud as such. Now here is the funny thing, that even in eco mode now the car feels really very punchy when it should not be. It should be like feeling sluggish, but no, the Fortuner feels full punchy even in eco mode. In fact, I believe in eco mode it can still overtake this endeavor in a straight line drag race, because not the 3.2 or the 2.2, but the 2-liter one, because that's the level of grunt this car has. Insane. But eco mode is obviously meant for better efficiency, and normal mode is a good blend of efficiency as well as performance. Meanwhile, in sport mode, it absolutely flies. That is the level of performance on offer from the Fortuner. Yeah, I love the performance. I just can keep going endlessly praising the performance of this Fortuner. It's insanely awesome. And the good thing is that there is nosedive, but it's much better contained because of the stiff suspension, of course. So guys, this is my vlog of the Toyota Fortuner, a car which is extremely reliable, easy to upkeep, and will stand the test of time. However, it does feel very expensive for what it has to offer, because it misses out on a lot of things, and this is the most expensive car in the world to not get a sunroof. And on that disappointment, it's time to end. If you like this vlog, make sure to give it a thumbs up. That's a like button, and also subscribe to the channel. I will see you guys in the next video real soon. Bye bye guys, take care, have fun, see ya.